Welcome to the V2S Podcast. We are three guys who like music. We've been in bands. We've watched countless bands live. We're going to talk about all things music related. At least we're going to start there. We're going to share some stories, opinions, lots of opinions, insights, and whatever else we feel like. So sit back and share a few laughs with us. Welcome to the V2S Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the V2S Podcast. I am thrilled to be here with you again. We have a great night ahead of us. I am Bill Vincent, and with me is my friends and brothers in rock and roll music. One, my real brother, and one, a good friend. So we have my real brother, Dan Vincent.
So
here.
We've been told we're brothers. We've never been tested.
No. And Dada would say, though, given our voice sounds the same, it's probably that we are, and our hairline's getting similar, we probably are brothers. It's safe to say.
I don't know. I think you're cheating. I think you're
I'm
juicing.
definitely cheating. I'm getting all the help I can get to keep the hair I have.
Yeah, I was going to say, because we do not have the same hairline. They can't see, but we do not have the same hairline. I think you're juicing. I think you've been hanging with Ryan Braun. And,
I think the difference is I freely will admit it. I will admit this is not all real, and I will go down fighting.
Bret Michaels does that too. I remember he's like,
Definitely.
yeah, it's the best extensions money can buy.
There's no shame.
Right?
We all get to a certain age and things start to happen.
I steered into the curve and just shaved the head.
You did.
I can't do that.
You did. And that voice you hear is Scott Gale. Welcome, Scott.
He's
Thank
kind of a
you
mix
very
of both.
much. I steered away from the curve and started to grow my hair back. So it's a sad attempt at one final hurrah. I don't think it's working, but I don't think I'm fooling anybody, but it makes me feel better. And, still no word from Susanna Hoff. So we're still waiting to hear from her on our big Women of Rock and Roll show. So if she's out there listening, or if you know her, send her over. Let her email us.
Yeah, why don't we schedule that? We're gonna schedule that for July 22nd. Susanna, would you like to be on the July 22nd episode of the V2S Podcast? Now the clock is ticking, so now we got a real deadline of when she will be on the show.
And we're free that day.
We are free that day.
Checking our schedules. I think
all
we're good.
All right, so if you haven't gotten it, we like talking about hard rock music. We like talking about all music, to be honest with you. But hard rock's kind of where we live. And Dan had this cool idea and said, why don't I just throw some topics at you guys that you don't know about? So Scott and I have not heard this, but why don't I throw some stuff at you guys and just get your reaction? And I don't know if they're going to be hot takes or if they're going to be things about bands or what. But Scott and I thought, yeah, that'd be kind of cool and just give a chance to freely talk about music. And as you guys agree, disagree, one of our favorite things is when you email us. So email us at v2spodcast@gmail.com. Hit us on the Twitter at V2S Podcast. We have the Facebook page, V2S Podcast. So all the forms of social that you want to reach out to us, please reach out. Obviously, our personal pages, you can hit us up too. But I'm really excited to do this. Scott and I have not seen anything, so I don't know what Dan has in store.
We will be as equally surprised as everybody as soon as Dan starts.
As equally disappointed as everyone.
Well, yeah.
Let me just start with the first one because we were just talking about this in a text. So Motley Crue is in the new Delta Faucet commercial, their song Change, which I guess that could fit in almost any commercial, couldn't it? Okay.
That's right. Time for change.
That song could fit in any commercial. It's just, hey, need a new faucet? Hey, need a new car? Hey, need a new shirt? Whatever. It would fit. So I ask you, are you okay with bands selling their music for commercials? And does it matter what commercial it's for?
Personally, myself, I'm fine with it at this point because I think that it's so much more difficult for artists to get their music heard by a mass audience these days since, terrestrial radio is kind of...
MTV doesn't play
music.
music.
MTV's kind of out. Satellite radio is very specific into, you can pick, just down to the minutia of the genre that you want. And most of us are doing Pandora or Spotify with artists that we know that we like. So we're not really actively searching to discover new music. So, but that being said, yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I think that those years or that mentality of like a band is selling out because you hear their album or their music associated with a certain product or whatever, I think those days are long gone based upon where we sit as a music audience or a consumers of music and bands and stuff. These guys still have to make a living, and let's be honest, you hear Rat in a commercial doing Round and Round, it's like that's probably a big bump to their income, and they need that. So yeah, I'm all for it.
And it was a brilliant commercial. That the Rat one is so well done.
It really is.
Okay, but I think it's different when Rat is like, what, someone's going to use our song again? And Motley Crue does it. Motley Crue was a much higher level band than Rat ever was, right?
Sure.
Motley Crue can tour right now and sell places out.
Mm-hmm.
Rat's the first band on a lineup of 3 or 4 bands.
Hey,
maybe the second band if Trickster's number 1, but
let's not rip Rat or Trickster, because maybe we could get them on, all right? So Stephen Piercy would love to have you on and talk to you.
And name someone from Trickster, please.
Steve Brown.
Oh,
nice.
I don't even. He could be totally wrong.
Right. He could have said anybody.
He said it with confidence. Right. He said it with confidence. I'm going to believe it.
And quickly.
The bass player's name was PJ. I can't remember his last name, but his first name was PJ.
Oh, sure.
So. Yeah, the first person. I'll tell you what. The first person that can send us a tweet that listens to this with the name of one of the Trickster singles can get the debut piece of V2S Podcast swag, which has not been created yet. But if you tweet us a Trickster song, I will literally create swag for
I will
you.
give my 6-year-old a marker and say, write V2S on this shirt. And it may be a P instead of a V. I don't know.
Whatever. Close enough.
Oh, my gosh. I would agree with Scott, though.
I'd let her put a tattoo on me. What do you...
That's true.
That's true.
I would agree with Scott. I do like seeing Motley Crue in the light again. I like seeing Rat on TV again. I thought the tag team thing was absolutely hilarious.
Yes.
They parlayed that into a guest appearance on the Dan Patrick Show a couple weeks ago. Like Scott said, I mean, everybody's got to make a check. Nikki Sixx has made it clear he has no problem making money. And good for him. Like, I just think it's fun to see the crew again in a light. So, yeah, it's awesome.
What was it, Survivor? The Starbucks commercial? Where it was like, Roy, 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 Roy.
Yes.
And then they were like just singing what he's doing all day.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
And then there was I don't know who did it, but the final countdown one with something was in the microwave and
I remember
Europe
that one.
showed up.
I remember that one. That was hilarious. Yeah, I think that's all. I think that's all in good fun. Like the band's got to make money, and then plus, how much fun do we have hearing those songs from bands that we like in these funny commercials? We're like, oh, that's a great song, and that's a funny commercial. It's just fun. So good for them.
Will it get you because you love Motley Crue? Will it get you? Oh, I need a new faucet. Let's get Delta. Is it going to affect you at all?
If I needed a new faucet, yes, it would. It absolutely would.
Because we're redoing our bathroom, and we did not get Delta. But if Delta would like to get a plug and maybe, hook me up, I would love to talk about Delta faucets.
I think you already have.
I know.
Already talked about it.
But I haven't said if they're good or not.
I don't think that's going to sway me in the product, that kind of special targeted marketing with like, oh, this specific song, I'm going to, go for that product, Although, well, maybe that's not true, because then you think about like when artists back, I guess that's not true when I think about that, because there's artists that are backing things that I'm like, oh, maybe I should check that out because so and so is doing that, specifically like Lenny Kravitz or something.
Depending on the product, if all of a sudden there's a Metallica song in a Burger King commercial, I'll be like, I'm gonna get a Whopper.
Yeah.
When it's like a faucet, it's like, I don't care.
But it depends on the band as well. Like in Scott's case, if Slash was pimping something, it would get your attention. And Dan, if Mike Patton from Faith No More comes out on TV and says everybody should do this, it would make you go, huh, maybe I should do that. Like, it depends what we love.
Yep, that's true. 100%.
But that would make me think that company is like spying on me and like, how do they know that I like Mike Patton? Because I'm the only one.
But like all these commercials are totally playing to our genre because they know it's our music, and so whatever they're selling, like they're selling that to people who are our age right now.
Yeah, we're the target demographic.
Let me build on that and switch it to movies. Next question. What is your favorite song? Like this song in this movie, it just fits. And I can give you an example. I don't know if you've seen it, either of you, but Thor Ragnarok, like the beginning battle, has Zeppelin song.
Immigrant song.
Yeah, the immigrant song, where the song's about Thor, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it fits perfect.
Yeah.
Like, that song in that movie and that scene is just gold.
Yeah, that's funny you bring that up. My son was actually talking about that the other day because we were driving around and I was listening to Zeppelin and Immigrant Song came on, and he was saying how perfect that song was for that movie. It's
so perfect, they bring it back at the end of the movie for another fight scene.
Right? Yeah.
And it still works great.
Yeah, I don't know if I can think of another song from a movie that's like that perfect. I mean, the first thing that popped into my head when you started talking about movies and songs was, I mean, the first time I heard Guns N' Roses was in the Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry movie, The Deadpool. You know, that's the first time I heard Welcome to the Jungle, and I was like, oh, that's a band I got to check out, and what is that? And, you know, so that was awesome. But, you know, so that's kind of what that question made me think of, and, like, I think of that song fitting that movie for whatever reason.
Bill?
That's a good one. I am trying to think of one, and the only thing coming to my head is all the movie songs Kenny Loggins wrote for movies in the 80s.
Yes.
But that's not what you're talking about, I don't think, because he wrote those movie songs for the movies.
No, but still, that works.
No, that's perfect.
A lot of songs are written for movies, but like
Footloose is so perfect
one.
then.
Danger Zone.
I'm All Right. Highway to the Danger Zone.
Top Gun. Yep.
We were in Destin 2 weeks ago, and I will say, as we drove across Miramar Beach, I cranked Highway to the Danger Zone, and my wife and kids just laughed like, you're such an idiot. But it was the most awesome thing.
No, they're wrong. That was awesome and the most appropriate thing to do at that moment.
Totally. But I guess I'd say Footloose comes to mind. Like, that song just works for that movie. You can't hear that and not think of the movie, and you can't see the movie and not want to hear the song.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought of another one. Purple Rain for Purple Rain.
Mm.
Right?
There you go.
I mean, that's just...
I'm going to plead ignorance on Prince. Was that album written for that, or was the album done and then the movie? You know what I mean? Or was it kind of simultaneously together?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say it was kind of written for the movie or in conjunction with everything kind of being a big concept. I think. I could be wrong. Somebody can tweet or email or tell us on Facebook. And yeah, but he's got a new album out or coming out.
I heard that. I heard the state has one coming out.
It's awesome.
I got one. And I hope somebody at home was thinking about this, like, say this one.
Rocky.
The scene in Back to the Future when Michael J. Fox starts playing Power of Love and the evaluator is Huey Lewis. That is
and he
awesome.
tells him to stop.
Yes.
Yes.
That's awesome. Yes.
That's perfect. That's very well done.
Yes.
Okay.
Those are great.
Every song in Rocky, I think, is perfect, too. Living in America, the Rocky theme song, Eye of the Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
They're all perfect.
They all fit really well.
Okay.
Can I go real quick? Just piece of history. Did you know You're the Best from Karate Kid was originally supposed to be the theme song for Rocky 3? And then at the last minute, somebody submitted Eye of the Tiger by Survivor, and they were like, oh, nope, we're going that way. And that's how Karate Kid got You're the Best.
You know, the success on both ends.
Right? I was just going to say that
they were.
You Are the Best fits really well in Karate Kid.
That's a win-win.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fun question. I like that.
It is
one,
a fun trivia thing. You don't realize, like now, all this, you think like, oh, Eye of the Tiger, that's the Rocky song, but it didn't even come in till Rocky 3. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Right.
the famous like dun 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 dun, dun, that was in all of them, but the actual Eye of the Tiger. All right.
I got one more before you move on. Does anybody else, when you hear "You Could Be Mine" by Guns N' Roses right before the solo, because from the video, do you hear Arnold saying "Hasta la vista, baby"? Because that happens in the video. Oh, I still hear that to this day when I hear that song.
Yeah, I don't, but that's
Okay.
another one
Scott?
that's good for this category for the Terminator 2 T2. You Could Be Mine. Yeah.
T2, yeah.
Okay. Next question. The big debate, right, is Van Halen, Van Hagar. I know Bill, I don't know if he'd pick Van Hagar, but he loves Hagar so much. And Gail, I'm guessing you'd go Van Halen. So I'm not going there. What I am going to go with is AC/DC, Bon Scott, Brian Johnson. Which AC/DC is better? And I know neither of you are the biggest AC/DC fans.
No, but I can weigh in on this.
Do
Having
you
heard it,
want some like Bon Scott songs?
I know Bon Scott songs, but
we know.
go ahead and list them if you want.
You can list a couple.
Okay. Just for
List
our
them for the fans.
listeners, hang on. If You Want Blood, You Got It. I love that song. That song is so good. Let There Be Rock, Whole Lotta Rosie, Highway to Hell, Touch Too Much, Ride On. I think that, in 40 years, that's their only ballad.
That's a good song.
And it's phenomenal. Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be, Long Way to the Top, If You Gotta Rock and Roll, The Jack, Dirty Deeds, Done Dirt Cheap, TNT. I mean, there you go. That's quite a good list.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian Johnson, what do you have? Thunderstruck, Back in Black, You Shook Me All Night Long,
Money Talks.
Money Talks.
Big
Girls
Gun.
Got Rhythm, Big Guns.
The interesting thing...
Have a Drink on Me. That's Brian Johnson.
The interesting thing about this question and this debate is, Brian Johnson...
They didn't kick him out. He died.
Well,
I get it.
not even that, but the vocal style is very similar, right? So you've got two guys who sing quite similarly, right? And you ask the average person who's not an AC/DC fan, hey, what do you think of these two songs? Oh, those are great. That's by AC/DC. Cool. They might not know there's two different singers. Whereas you got, with the Van Halen thing, it's a stark contrast between the two eras
True.
of Van Halen, or three eras of Van Halen even. So...
Don't. No, there's two. There's two eras.
You know what? Gary Cherone put a lot of work into Van Halen 3, and I think it's about time somebody appreciated what he
How
did.
do you know that?
Because I know that.
How do you know that?
Because he's the consummate performer, and he's a great singer, and why would he not approach Van Halen 3 with the same type of professionalism and awesomeness that he did when he was in Extreme? So, Gary Cherone, you're awesome. Van Halen 3 was great. I think you got a short end of the stick. Come on the show.
I actually would agree with that comment because I listened to Van Halen 3 about 6 months ago, like a month after Eddie died, and I was just listening to everything Van Halen. And even, not at this listening is when I realized it was good. So many times I've listened to it, and I'm like, this is not a bad album. It's not what people expected,
Right.
but it's not a bad album.
Still great.
And I have heard there is a fully recorded second album that the record company, Warner Brothers, never let come out. But that they figured out what their sound was, and I've heard it's very good.
Mm.
So maybe someday Wolf will put that out, or the estate will put that out.
That would be so
cool.
great.
Neither of you have answered my question, by the way.
Oh, right.
All right, so I will say Brian Johnson because I know I may not be a purist, but I grew up with that era, and I loved all those songs. And I didn't really hear the older stuff, the Bon Scott stuff, till I was older. So it was like the Brian Johnson stuff was just ingrained in me. I knew he wasn't the original lead singer, but I love the Brian Johnson stuff a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. For the same reason. I mean, for short and sweet.
There you go. I did read
Well,
this article
Dan,
that said,
you're the big Go ahead.
well, Brian Johnson, when he first heard Hell's Bells, he was like, back then, like, we would record it, and then I wouldn't hear it for a few months because it would all be mixing, and then they'd have to send it. He said he heard Hell's Bells, and he just started crying because he's like, this is god-awful. Because the producer told him, like, no, sing higher. And he's like, that's not my normal singing voice. But he kept telling him, he's like, this is bad. Apparently it worked.
Yeah, worked out
What
great.
did he know?
Right?
I know you're asking the questions, Dan, but just knowing how big of an AC/DC fan you are, what would you say?
I think you can't go wrong either way, but my favorite AC/DC songs, the Back in Black album is ridiculous. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that album is one of the best front to back,
Yep.
I think, ever.
Yeah.
And you can't go wrong with Brian Johnson, but I'm going to stick with Bon Scott, like slightly. Just a little edge. Partly because of that article makes me think of Brian Johnson is halfway trying or being told to do Bon Scott.
To duplicate the sound, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Sammy, they didn't try and say, like, no, be like Dave. You know? They didn't try and get John Corabi. Like, sound like Vince.
Right.
You know? But
Yeah.
those are really the only two bands, though, I can think of that switched singers for whatever reason and had equal, if not higher, success.
Yeah.
I mean, there's bands that switched early or something, but AC/DC was huge. He dies, get a new singer, and they're bigger.
yeah.
Van Halen was huge, get a new singer, and they're just as big.
Yeah.
You know?
If not bigger. Yeah, that's...
The only band that came close, and it was only for an album, was Anthrax. When they got John Bush, that first album, The Sound of White Noise, with him, was very, very popular.
I'd say that was their most popular album, but and you know how much I love Anthrax. They're nowhere near the realm of AC/DC or Van Halen.
No,
but
I agree.
That
But that
came
was
out
like
at a perfect time
close.
when the Black Album got harder music airplay, and Megadeth was getting airplay, and then Anthrax puts out a similar sounding kind of thing with John Bush. Like that hit at a perfect time for them.
Yeah.
It really did.
That was such a great
That's
album.
the closest.
Such
Yeah,
a good
it
album.
was.
Sound of White Noise. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of any band, though, to your point, that raised to a level of success, replaced the singer, the
Right.
main guy, and continued.
Maybe a guitar player or whatever, but okay.
Right.
Let me ask you this question then. I have a bunch. I'm jumping around. What is the best Metallica song on the Black Album that's not a single?
Ooh, I could go right away. Through the Never.
I have them. I was gonna list them for you, but you don't even know. I heard that song today when I was working out. That's what inspired this question.
Yeah, go ahead and list them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Holier Than Thou, Through the Never, Of Wolf and Man, My Friend to Misery, Don't Tread on Me, God That Failed, and Struggle Within. All are phenomenal, I think.
Yeah, they're all
And maybe
awesome.
it's because they weren't overplayed that I really love them so much. But
I think...
Yeah, all are great.
Yeah, all are great. Holier Than Thou's great song. I think My Friend of Misery, just because I love that intro on that with the bass.
Mm-hmm. I heard that while I was mowing the lawn today.
So good. So good.
See, I'm torn between whichever one I've heard more recently, God That Failed or Of Wolf and Man. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
when I hear one, I'm like, oh no, this is the best. And then I'll hear the other one, oh, this is the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to your
Yeah.
point, Scott, God That Failed has an awesome bass intro as well.
Yeah. Yup. Those are such great. That whole album, I mean, it was really, really so good. And obviously they changed a little bit of direction with the shorter songs and whatever and blah, 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 and kind of back down to just focusing on riffs and stuff. But such a good album. The Black Album is so good. Absolutely phenomenal record.
All right.
I agree. I mean, we could go on that, but let's do one more different question.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Would you rather have one ridiculously popular hit? Like, I'm thinking, Cult of Personality, and I'm not ripping any of these bands for their career, but Cult of Personality, No Rain, Everything About You, you're just a huge one-hit wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Or some long, mediocre career, Sepultura, Danzig. You know what I mean? Like, you've been around for 30, 40 years, but maybe you had one song that was kind of popular. You had Your Mother.
Yeah.
What would you rather have? That one just everyone loves for about 2 months? Or
it's
a nice
that's a
mid-level, I'm
super
not quite selling out the rave?
Super interesting question. I mean, I think it's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, and it's interesting you bring it up because I just watched a documentary on Vanessa Carlton on her song 1,000 Miles, right? So she talks about that song and how that came to be and so on and so forth. Fascinating documentary if you're kind of into that music creation documentary, big pictures. I just love that stuff. But anyway, so she gets that one big hit, right? And it's a smash hit. And essentially getting that one big hit kind of has allowed her to do things that she wanted to do artistically since then, So I think I would err on the side of wanting that one big hit. You have to live with the kind of the brand of the one hit wonder or whatever, but if your hit is big enough, you're going to get, or you used to be able to get enough income to kind of be like, okay, now I'm cool because I had a hit single, a number one, and now I've made a ton of money, so now I can kind of do whatever I need to do to kind of satisfy my artistic, creative funny bone or whatever it is. So I think I would go on the side of like I'd want one big hit and then just kind of, not necessarily settle into obscurity but you can still kind of do what you want to do after that rather than just kind of struggle and be middle of the road and not ever get to that point where you're not hustling for the next gig,
Mm-hmm.
That would be my opinion.
Right. So, like, I don't know exactly what they make from royalty and all that stuff, but if it's like, it's like, hey, I know I'm getting 50 to 80,000 a year from this song,
Right.
I just need a little more side hustle and I'm good all year.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe I become a teacher. Maybe I just play little clubs around me, whatever. Like, like you said, I can do anything, and Rick Springfield can get a Summerfest gig at the Miller stage anytime he wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna take it the other way, because as much as I will admit I love spotlighting, being like I'd love to be the guy even for 5 minutes. I think there's something to be said for still being able to put the band together and jam. And you know what? We may only play to 300 people, but dude, we get to play guitar for a living. Like that is, that would be awesome to me still if we got to do that. And if you got to make enough money and maybe you got a job at the Home Depot on the side, but that would be worth it to me.
Well, I think that's, I think that kind of comes around.
Those 300 people too, though, are going to be insanely loyal.
Right.
Totally. Yes.
I've never seen Sepultura. I have zero desire. I honestly never listened to Sepultura. They may be phenomenal. But I bet if I went to a Sepultura show, you're going to find fans that are like live and die Sepultura.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if they're still with them now.
Yeah.
Agree. It'd be like if we saw, like, I think of Warrant right now as kind of that. And it's 4 of the 5 original guys, except for Janie. It's the original band. And like, you still get to hang out with the guys you were with. Like, Scott, imagine you, me, and Dave hanging out, going around the world together. Maybe it's coming out of our pocket or we're just breaking even. But that would still be pretty fun at our age to get to do for a living.
Yeah,
that was sad.
I'd be all
you just
for
said
it.
You, him, and Dave. That means Bob's the one that died.
I said Bob.
No, you didn't.
Replay the tape. I said Bob. Bob's in the band.
Maybe we got
Bob's
a new
the
bass
Jamie.
player. Yeah, no, I think that's
you, me, Dave, and Bob.
That
If
would
I didn't say it, I meant it.
I totally agree with that. And I think both of our answers kind of lead to that end result, right? So if you're just middle of the road, you never have a big hit, you're still doing what you love. You're playing music, you're playing venues, you're doing whatever. You're hanging out with your buddies, goofing around into your 40s. You know, awesome, fun stuff. You know, if you have that one big hit at the beginning of your career, that affords you the luxury to still kind of go out and based on the success of that hit, you can still kind of go out and get gigs and hang out with your buddies and tour around the world and play music and goof around into your 40s. You know, so I see both of those paths converging kind of at the same place, you know?
Here, let me say where I disagree with you on that.
Okay.
I feel like when the big mega hit happens, LSD sinks in, lead singer disease, and fame sets in. And so the band breaks up and isn't the same. So yes, you're still going out touring, but it's with 4 other guys who are 20 years younger than you, laughing at the songs you're playing.
Potentially, yeah.
Versus playing with the guys you grew up with.
Yeah, I see
which
that.
I just think there's something to be said for that.
No, I see that.
Like Alice Cooper touring at 70 with 20, 30-year-olds backing him.
Yeah, exactly.
And he may have 40, 50-year-olds. I don't know who's backing him,
but even like my boy and I saw Tesla right before COVID, and it's everybody but Tommy Skeoch. So again, 4 of the 5 guys, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Do
Still get
they
to be
replace Tommy, or does Frank just do it and probably some guy off stage is playing a little?
No, they have a guy named Dave Rude who actually kind of looks like Tommy, but really good guitar player. Holds his own in the band.
Do you remember when we met Tesla and Tommy wasn't playing? There's like a sign when you walked in saying like Tommy Skeoch won't be playing. And then we met him afterwards and someone's like, oh, I wish Tommy was there. And I think it was Frank. He's like, well, he's in rehab. You want him to get better, don't you?
Like, ouch. Shots fired.
Like, yeah. Okay. Sorry. We were in the back. We're like, yeah, we didn't say it. That was that guy.
No, that was that other guy, not us.
Right?
Sorry.
Not us.
It's kind of like I met AC/DC and someone went to Brian Johnson and said, I'm really glad you guys kept going after Bond died. And Brian Johnson was like, yeah, me too.
That's a good, witty answer.
Right? Like, what the hell?
Right. I wouldn't have a job
well,
otherwise.
Dan, I know you got more questions. If you guys liked this, shoot us some emails. Hit us up on Twitter or Facebook. Let us know because we can do this again. And this was fun. Good questions. Want to kind of be cognizant of time and not ramble on because I think we could. So if you listened, make sure you give it a like. Share with your friends who like music. We got to keep music alive, man. There's not a lot of people talking about rock and roll anymore. So share it with your friends. Communicate with us. And any parting shots, Scott, on your part?
No, I think I'm good. That was a fun thing. I think we should do that again. I enjoy that. Just kind of off the cuff, not knowing the questions makes it super fun.
I do have one, so.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Dan. Any parting shots you want to give? You want to weigh in on something you didn't get to?
No. Go get your vaccine shot if you can.
Right on.
All right.
There we go.
Be healthy for you and your community, and let's get out and see some concerts soon. Thanks, everybody.
Woo-hoo.